Can we get started already?
We gotta make sure that shit works.
Yes. Tyler Earl's a better all-around shooter than he is.
All around, yeah, but 3-point, no.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You're on crack.
Nope.
Fameworthy. Is Cooper Kupp a Hall of Famer?
No!
No!
Yeah!
Okay. Cooper Kupp is the same as Kawhi Leonard.
No, he's not!
Started.
Tyreek Hill's family. Tyreek Hill was never the best receiver in the league. He was top 3. Ray Lewis was the best player in the league.
It is a criminal act of what he did to that organization.
Average quarterback, I have him at 15.
I have him at 24.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy. Listen, Dak Prescott is not. Just because he's overpaid doesn't mean he's bad.
Tell me what big game he's won.
That doesn't matter.
Yes,
You
it
don't-
does.
No, it doesn't.
Welcome back to the Third Lane Podcast. It's going to be a little different today. Talon and Bryson are busy. We didn't record last week because I was busy. So I just made a decision that we're going to record this week. Now, I'm recording this on Wednesday, September 10th. A lot has happened today outside the sports world. So prayers up for the Kirk family because holy moly. Just everything that's happened in general. Very wild time. But we're gonna cross over to sports. We'd probably talk about what had happened more if Bryson and Talon were here. It's just not. I'm not going to talk about it. It's not my place to talk about. So we're gonna start off. College football and NFL season has started. We're gonna start off with college football because college football is my favorite. And I have full control today. So yeah. So we're just going to start off with some upsets, right? Just Lord Almighty, did it get interesting. So you start with week 1. I'd say week 0. South Florida, and we're going to talk about them in a minute, beats Boise State. And everyone wants to talk about Byron Brown. This brother did this like 2 years ago. I think he either got hurt or lost the starting position last year. But he balled out 2 years ago. Like, he was a problem. And everyone now acting like he just came out of the woodworks. Like, this guy hasn't been playing. USF almost beat Bama a few years ago with, this quarterback has been knocking on the door. Now, Boise State, when they beat him 34-7, I think we understand Boise lost a lot of talent. And it shows how good Ashton Jeanty was. Like, everyone dogged on him against Penn State. Oh, he just didn't have any many yards. The brother was, you see what the brother was working with? He's getting hit far behind the offensive line. And then you take him out of that offense, and they almost got shut out by USF? Like, no. And if it also looks like I'm looking in the corner, myself is in there. That's where my box is. But, yeah. Auburn beats Baylor in a great game. Baylor has played some insane games so far. But Auburn looks decent. One of the guys I work with the football team, major Auburn fan, he gasses them up. I'm not sold, but Auburn's ranked now, and they look better than they have before. Now on to week 1, right? And we're going to talk about Tennessee in a minute when we talk about the Georgia-Tennessee thing, because I have personal interest in it. I'm not going to have personal bias, though, because one of the things when you do this is you got to separate the two. But Ohio State, Texas, right? This game kind of irked me in the sense of we're all dogging on Archie Manning. You forget about this guy, started against some nobodies last year, right? So he looked good. Like, he should have thrown for 200, 300 yards against a FCS Division I school. Like, I hope he did. Kind of concerning. The Georgia game. I was like, why are we letting, why is Austin P not getting out games so much? And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I mean, we also forget to put on that this secondary lost nobody outside of Latham Ransom at Ohio State. Like, they still have Caleb Downs. They have Matthews Jr. I think they lost Burke. But again, they still have Sonny Styles. They still have that other linebacker. There's another corner, Hancock. That brother's a dog. Like, you can't look at that Ohio State defense and that is almost the exact back four that played and won the Natty last year. Now, there's been some changes to the front seven. Well, not even. the back five, the only changes have been the defensive line. And you expected him to carve it up? Like, we saw what that defense did last year. Like, did we forget how good Ohio State's defense was? Like, did we? Also, yes, Archie Manning had some bad, like, the incompletions were bad. But let's also remember, he lost, like, his top two receivers, his top tight end. He lost, like, 4 offensive linemen. The ones I know of, Jake Majors, Kelvin Banks, and Cameron Williams, right? He lost a running back and Jaden Blue. CJ Baxter, I think is his name, who was a dog 2 years ago, just came back after missing all of last year. He's got a whole new offensive line. Ryan Wingo's the only other dude. They lost Jonte Cook in the transfer portal. And let's look at this game. Let me pull up the game stats. All right. DeAndre Moore is decent. I think he played on the team last year. That's like Ryan Wingo is the only main holdover. I think DeAndre Moore too, but he was kind of quiet. But like Ryan Wingo was a 5-star. Quintavious Wisner had a pretty buns game. Well, actually, no, it was CJ Baxter. But like Archie Manning, he also was 17 of 30, 56% completion percentage. I look at what Nico did against Ohio State. Now, yes, the expectations is different, right? And we're going to talk about that brother in a minute. But like, can we just not dog on him? Like, this is what I hate about the Heisman thing. We put so much on the players to start the season that they've got to perform every game. We forget these are humans, and we forget that they can have bad games, right? Just because we saw Joe Burrow go ball out. I think Baker had a bad game, right? But we see these guys, Tua, Jalen Hurts, Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel had a bad game. Like, we see all these guys who just have insane seasons, and we just think, oh, that's the norm. No! What Joe Burrow did in 2019 was stupid. He was fantastic every game. That's why it was so amazing. Caleb Williams, that's just because he was in the Pac-12. I'm convinced at this point that if he was in, like, the Big Ten still, that at Oklahoma, that would have never happened, right? But that's just a whole different story for another day. So you're going to tell me that we're going to dog on this brother because of that. His first start against a true opponent, Texas lost a lot of guys. This is pretty much the very same back 5. No, back 6. You count the linebackers, 6 or 7. And you're going to look at me and tell me that, he should have done better. Let's put some respect on Ohio State's name, right? I'm looking at this right now. Lorenzo Styles, Sony Styles, Jermaine Matthews is going to be a top pick in this upcoming draft, right? Caleb Downs, another top pick. It's insane that him and KJ Bolden are probably going to come out to get. Wait, no. KJ Bolden still got another year. But Caleb Downs is probably one of the best safety prospects we've seen in a while. Let's put some respect on. There's a few other names that I can recognize on here, but I don't remember how big of an impact. I just know that secondary is pretty much intact. And you're going to look at, it irks me. Oh, it irks me. Yeah, I mean, Oregon has mauled everybody. Like Oklahoma State last week. How do you do that to another Power 5? Then this isn't like, if we're talking about Power 5s, this isn't like Illinois, Purdue, it's Oklahoma State. Like, this is a bowl contender every year, not too far from being a playoff contender. And you just mauled them like that. I mean, that wasn't even funny. And then we're going to talk about UCLA. LSU beat Clemson that week too. We haven't recorded in a while. Clemson, I've had these worries, okay, and this is the thing, right? Because we put Kate Klubnik and Drew Allard on this pedestal. And more Drew Allard that it irks me, right? I mean, Drew Allard's been a starter for how many years, and it's like the same old, and we keep giving the excuse he doesn't have any receivers. How many cracks at it does it take before you go, maybe Drew Allard isn't that? Like, the Jalen Milroe BS, the Anthony Richardson, like, Drew Allard is, like, overrated. And I think Cade Klubnik is to an extent. Like, we forget the ACC is not that tough. Like, I hope he wins most of his games in the ACC. The only body that can contend in the ACC is FSU. And Tommy Costello, it just pulls out some BS and it just works, right? Like Tommy Costello, by all means, is a good quarterback, but he's not that good. Like, he did this at Boston College last year. We'll talk about that in a minute. So, but LSU should, and the fact that they lost LSU, who lost like a whole offensive line, could not run the ball last year against a good with a good offensive line. They lost some players on the defense. Harold Perkins is coming back from an ACL tear. They lost, I'm pretty like their top receivers. Like, I don't know, like it's a lot of transfer portal guys. So like, and can we talk about how stupid it is that Clemson moved? What is this brother's name? Adam Randall from wide receiver to running back, when they had a guy last year that ran the ball pretty good at the end of the season when Phil Maffa went down, and he's just gone. Like, Dabo Swinney, again, we hyped up. I don't understand the hype that came out of Clemson. Like, Clemson should be that good. Like, it's freaking Clemson. And Dabo Swinney. Like, the fact that, like, they had such a down year and they're like, they're back in the top 10. Like, no. Cade Klubnik was 50% completion percentage, 230 yards. The dual threat maybe is where I'm like, okay. But, like, and look, can we also act like this isn't that good of a receiving core? Antonio Williams. Like, let's stop. Like, just because he has NFL potential does not mean he is an NFL player. I said that about Anthony Richardson. Brian Wesco, I'm pretty sure this brother is like 24. Like, I hope he has 4 catches for 66 yards. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure he's been in football for a freaking minute. Let's pull that up real quick. He's a sophomore. That was the Wesco that was at Missouri. I think he's still at Missouri. My apologies. But, like, let's stop acting like I'm genuinely concerned about Clemson's ability to run the football. Like, we've got a wide receiver that transferred to running back in the spring as their starting running back. Like, there's been guys running the ball since they were 7 and they couldn't beat the receiver. Like, I digress. I was so over the Clemson hype, right? But in LSU, Garrett Nussmeier did his thing. And it's going to be him, Lenore Sellers, and John Mateer battling for the number 1 quarterback spot. Because I don't think Archie Manning comes out this year. Caden Durham, he showed out last year against South Carolina, is a dog. They kind of redid their receiving core, bringing in Aaron Anderson, Bayer Sharp, and Barron Brown from Kentucky. Aaron Anderson's from Oklahoma, I'm pretty sure. They rehauled the receiving. Again, the fact that they messaged well just coming out of the transfer portal is kind of stupid. Can I also talk about Clemson? Where the hell is your, like, okay, we talked about TJ Parker. It 3 tackles. I didn't see many pressures from him. Wade Woodaz, it's just like the guy plays linebacker. Like, this is a guy, when he goes to the NFL, he'll start for a few years, lead the league in tackles, but every, like, metric about him is like, this brother should not be good. But he's just a dog, right? And then there's someone, Peter Woods. I honestly think this team is so overrated, and we're going to find out. I'm not saying they're FSU overrated like last year, but this is not going to be a team that's going to win a natty. They barely beat Troy. Like, they were down for that minute. And you're and we're not even going to talk about the rankings. Like, some people shouldn't be allowed to vote for sports, right? But Miami beats Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame is going to be that good. I'm not going to say they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be last year good. They lost a lot of talent on defense. They lost a lot of time. They lost their quarterback. And I don't know if CJ Carr's ready, but the defense lost a lot, especially up front. And it like that, like as a Georgia guy, that's usually tough, right? Like the defensive line hasn't been the same since we had Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Trevon Walker. Like it's still not the same. Like we still produce 1 or 2 first rounders a year off that defensive front. That's it. Like, and that sounds bad, but like it's not like wow, that was really good. It's like I can project the talents there, and you're like, well, okay. Also, Utah beat the dog piss out of UCLA. Nico, I said this last year. I don't know if I said it on the podcast. Probably was very overrated. 11 of his 19 touchdowns came against teams that were either under 500 or FCS, and everyone's beating on the table, and it's happening again. It's happening again in Tennessee. And I will go on that rant in a minute. This might be a long episode since it's just me. Beating on the table that Nico Maliava was good. Well, not just good, great. And then he plays Georgia, and he plays these other teams. And you're like, hold the phone. Like, Oklahoma, what are we doing? There's 7 seconds. You are aware that there is that much time left on the clock. Why are you running? Why are you running? Where are you running? But he's just been terrible. I mean, it's just bad. I mean, I bet he's probably hating it right now because he's at UCLA getting the dog beat kicked out of him with a bunch of just guys and no dudes. And Devin Dampier, I think I don't know where he came from. I followed him the past 2 years. I think it's New Mexico State. Yeah, I think it is New Mexico State. That brother's a dog. I'm happy the college football world's starting to see him because, like, you know, a lot of the average fan does not keep up with New Mexico State. I've got issues. I keep up with teams like that. That brother can play. He can run the ball well. It may have been UNLV. Low key. It's New Mexico State or UNLV. I gotta open up like 7 tabs to get there. New Mexico State. He's a junior. Now, granted, he threw 12 picks last year for 12 touchdowns, but he's already doing a lot better than that. He also he had 19 rushing touchdowns, ran for almost 1,200 yards. Yeah, you know, Utah is going to do some damage. And UCLA is just going to get bent over all the time. Right, now, on to last week. Iowa loses to Iowa State. I don't know what's got to happen in Iowa, but, like, everybody should be fired. The offense, like, good quarterbacks go to Iowa and then forget how to be a quarterback. And, like, this Mark Grankowski, yeah, I think he came from SES level or a smaller FBS school. And, I mean, group of 5. And he just, like, forgot how to be a quarterback. Like, is also one of the worst starts in college football history. And it, like, Cade McNamara, and then, like, the 8 quarterbacks that played between Cade McNamara and this guy in, like, a 2-year span is, like, embarrassing. Like, the offense is embarrassingly bad. It's like middle school offense. But Iowa State looks good. Rocco Beck, I like him as an NFL quarterback. I liked him last year as an NFL quarterback. I'm excited for when he comes out. I'd keep an eye on this guy if when the draft process starts, he starts to rise up boards. Okay. I digress. Illinois is ranked 9th. Everybody, we've got to be aware. First off, Indiana's 22nd after making the playoffs last year. What are we doing with the rankings, right? Like, Tennessee was like 24th. Like, what? Michigan was ranked. And we're going to talk about them in a minute. But, like, Michigan sucked. And we put them, like, 18th. You're telling what? I didn't see them play a snap, and you put them there. That's based off name, and that's bullshit. I hate the way the AP poll works. Hate it. Some woman put Florida up 2 spots after losing to USF and had them behind USF. And then when asked for explanation, she's like, a long night. I'm not really going to talk about it. Yeah, because you don't even know. You know what a dumbass move that was. So you're like, I'm just not. We're just gonna scrap it. We're just gonna, move along. Hope nobody really looks at it. But yeah, Illinois is ninth. And Luke Altmaier, the head coach there used to, be the head coach of Arkansas. I don't know his name, but Luke Altmaier is the truth. That brother's been a starter for a few years. That brother's good. Billima, yeah. I don't know why that just came to me. I would not be surprised if that team does some damage. I have them above Indiana. I just don't trust Indiana, right? But I have them below like Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State, maybe Michigan. I kind of have them like neck and neck with Michigan. Love Justice Haynes for Michigan, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Right? Georgia, Austin Peay. Okay. I think we also need to put respect on Austin Peay's name. They just beat an FBS school beforehand. Now, granted, it's MTSU, and we'll talk about tech football later. But so like that's not a bad FCS team. The reason why the score is like it is because Georgia played conservative. I asked people about the game. They're like, oh yeah, no, Gunnar Stockton just wasn't letting it hang, right? And I think there was also a bit of that because we played Tennessee next week. And we'll talk about the end of the segment that, like maybe they were holding stuff back. I'm hoping that because for the love of the Lord, if Gunnar Stockton's a bit of a wuss with pulling the trigger, we are fried. But there has to be a reason. I also think in the running game, they're playing way too many running backs. There's no way when we play somebody seriously, we're playing that many running backs. If so, holy moly, right? Like, we beat you with a running back. In the past few years, it's been like 3. But we're playing like 4, 5. No one's getting more than like 7 carries. Like, no. Nate Frazier's no. Nate Frazier's the number 1 guy. I think it's Dwight Phillips. Brother can hit. Like, yeah, okay. But like, Chauncey Bowens. When is Josh McCray going to get it? But also, Georgia was without 2 of their offensive linemen. Juan Gaston, who, holy cow, that brother was a tackle and moved to guard because he was so good. They're like, put the brother in the game. But the reason why it was 28-6 is because Gunnar Stockton was not letting it hang. We're going to find out more about that this week against Tennessee. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Looking forward to next week. Missouri, Kansas, what a game. Kansas was up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter, and Missouri came back and won 42-31. Bo Prabula, I butchered that name, looked good. Jalen Daniels is just not what he was 2 years ago. I think the injuries have kind of gotten to him. This is a good Kansas team, but like at the same time, I just don't think he's the same. But Bo, 30 of 39 for 334 yards, 3 touchdowns. As a mobile quarterback, did not run much. Ahmad Hardy, they had 2 different running backs with over 100 yards, right? One guy carried the ball only 13 times. Ahmad Hardy, who's going to be pretty good, carried the ball 25 times. So, like, I hope you have over 100 yards. But Jamal Roberts did not. He had the ball 13 times, over 100 yards, averaging 11 yards per carry. Stupid. Missouri is going to be a problem, as usual, which kind of sucks because as a Georgia fan, I hate playing Missouri. I don't think we played them this year, thank goodness. But Ole Miss, Kentucky. Kentucky is an interesting team. Like, they're bad. Like, Kentucky's bad. Zach Calzada went down with injury, so now Cutter Boley, who is terrible, is now, like, you're forced to play him. They don't have any receivers. Like, Kendrick Law is a guy, and, like, everyone put him on a pedestal because he comes from Alabama, so like should be good. But like I don't think he's that good. I think he's like a decent receiver, but like he's not a college football number 1. And defensively, they're gonna have a decent defense every year. But like the fact that it was that close, Austin Simmons, Loki was good. Trinidad Chambliss, I think he's the backup quarterback. His passing stats aren't on here. And I'm pretty darn sure he threw the ball. Google is failing me. And I'm not using ESPN because ESPN will have a stroke with how much back and forth I'm doing. Not Google, Microsoft Bing. It puts me on I digress. Tennessee blew out East Tennessee State. Fans are up in a roar. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Two games we got to talk left. Alabama lost to FSU in week 1. And I think that's huge because that's not a good FSU team. When you kind of look at that team, that's a lot of new transfers. Tommy Castellanos is a decent quarterback, not that good. It's not that guy. And the fact that he just mollywopped you, Alabama is in trouble because they have no running game. Unless Richard Young kind of gets it going as the season goes on, they have no running game. And all you do is you double team Ryan Williams, and then you make them beat you with Jeremy Bernard, and like you're fine with that. Defensively, they can't. You can just run it down their throat. They can't stop you in the middle, and you're just kind of looking at it. It's like Bama's not physical. Like Bama, they did not play a physical game against FSU. And I know the board comes from like that West Coast style of offense where it's kind of like just spread it out, pass the ball. Now we're just we're gonna nut up and just beat the dog pee out of you. But Bama got shown up, and Ty Simpson looked lost, and that's concerning because Keelan Russell. Listen, that brother's going to be good if he stays at Bama. I'm kind of worried he may end up transferring. He was 4-6 for 65 yards for 2 touchdowns. Now, Ty Simpson in Louisiana Monroe game was 17-17, but like it's Louisiana Monroe. Ty Simpson's also been in college football for like I think 4 years. So like, kind of a given. Tommy Castellanos, like you should not honestly, if DeBoer sucks, right? And they play we play Bama next after Tennessee, and Bama's got to come to Georgia. If they lose to FSU, Georgia, Tennessee, and then let's say they drop it to Auburn, DeBoer's gone. There's no way in a season you lose to FSU, not even like a great FSU, like mid FSU. Georgia team that we'll find out more after Saturday. A Tennessee team that's like decent, right? That depends if Jermon McCoy plays. Then I know he's out. And listen, I hate Tennessee with everything in my being. Jermon McCoy is a damn good receiver. That brother defines physical pass defense. Watch the tape. He is in it every time. And then you lose to an Auburn team led by Jackson Arnold. Let's not sugarcoat it. Jackson Arnold's a terrible quarterback. Just can run the ball really well. And even if you drop another game in there, DeBoer's gone. And that's just the downside of following up Nick Saban is because that's such a higher thing. But at the same time, there's no business losing to that FSU team. Nick Saban or no Nick Saban, you don't lose that game. You don't lose a non-conference game to that kind of team. Unless you're playing Clemson, not even. Ohio State week 1, drop that game. And they didn't just lose. They got beat up. And it's just, ugh. Now, Oklahoma, Michigan. Right? That was kind of a boring game. John Mateer's the truth. I wouldn't be surprised if he's a top 10 quarterback this year in the draft. Dude's like a gunslinger. Bryce Underwood did not look good. 9 of 24 for 142 yards. They can run the ball with Bama's running back, Justice Haynes, and I think that hurts Bama a lot that they lost him because that brother's a special running back. But they can't really throw the ball. I mean, did 9 completions for 142 yards, so you're kind of like, okay. He's also a true freshman, and his first away game was in Oklahoma. I don't know what you expected from him. This is why I did not want Michigan ranked. They're 23rd now. They shouldn't be ranked in the first place. Bryce Underwood got paid a lot of money, right? Because NIL's broken. But just because you paid a quarterback $3 million a year, a freshman quarterback, does not mean you deserve to be ranked. You lost insane. You lost your starting tight end. You lost both your starting D tackles. You lost running backs. You lost your quarterback. You lost, I think, a receiver. You lost some other defensive players. I think a linebacker. You're going to look at me and be like, yeah, so you weren't ranked before, but now we're going to rank you, even though you're worse than last year. The only thing that's better is the quarterback play. And actually, Khalil Mullins was a dog last year, and they brought in Justice Haynes. But back to the John Mateer thing, he was 21 of 31, 34 for 270 yards. He also ran for 74 yards as well and 2 rushing touchdowns. He's a really good quarterback. Great pocket passer. He has more wheels, but I don't view him as a dual threat. But I think he's a guy that just stands kind of like a Josh Allen, but like with less legs. Very erratic, and where you're like kind of bring it in, like let's not get too out of hand. I've also been watching What's His Face talk about it. His name is leaving me. And this isn't also Oklahoma's like receiver room is pretty buns. Deion Burks is the only notable name from there. He had 7 catches for 111 yards. Now, poor Bryce Underwood came into that game dealing with the Brent Venables secondary in his first away game in Oklahoma. Like that guy was set up to fail. Again, why is he ranked coming into that game? Right? Like, what are we doing? Now, on to this week. And really the number one game we're going to cover. Well, at USF in Miami first, and then we'll get to Georgia, whatever. Georgia, Tennessee. If USF beats Miami, USF should be a 10th ranked. Like they should move up 8 spots because they beat Boise State when they're ranked, Florida when they're ranked, and now Miami. And this is a good Miami team. Florida, I think, was overhyped. They lost a lot of receivers, and yes, you got like a quarterback is not everything. It's a lot in college football, but it's not everything. So you look at that and you're kind of just like, whatever. But if USF beats Miami and clears house, like next up is FSU. I don't know if they play FSU, but if they beat FSU, like there should be a trophy waiting for them. But if they beat Miami, holy moly, we've got pandemonium. Now, I think last year was our greatest season in college football ever. Holy USF alone is making it a fight. And that's a 3:30 kickoff. I don't think I'm going to be done by then. Actually, I should be done with the Tech game, so should be able to watch it. Now, Georgia, Tennessee. And Tennessee's favored by like 1.5%. And that's all I'm hearing this year. Well, defense is better. You lost your front 4. And you're down your 2 starting corners. Oh, Georgia's offense isn't as good. We got Noah Thomas, and I don't think you remember what he did. I think it's either Mississippi State or Texas A&M, but he was really good. Zachariah Branch. I don't think you remember what he did at USC. He was really good. Our running game, pretty good. I got to get off my box about as a Georgia fan. This game's going to be good. This happens every year. Joey Ago. So it goes Hendon Hooker. We go in this game, right? Hendon Hooker. He's amazing. And Hendon Hooker was pretty good. They lose. Next year, Joe Milton. Joe Milton, it's just amazing. It's our year. You lose. And it was like a steady decline. Then last year, Nico Maliava. He's the Heisman. He's the greatest quarterback. Craps the bed. Like, you looked at him and you're like, what are we doing? Right? Then you go this year, Joey Aguilar. He played at Appalachian State. Okay? You should have beat Syracuse. Syracuse is really bad. Like, Fran Brown got lucky because of Kyle McCord and Jackson Meeks. Meeks was a 4-star at Georgia. Kyle McCord was a 5-star. Like, that talent just doesn't disappear just because they didn't work out at other programs. Right? So Syracuse, pretty bad. And then you put 70 on ETSU, and you're like, we broke a record. Brother, ETSU is FCS, I'm pretty sure, and they suck. Like, I hate the Tennessee fans, just go up here, and then they shoot back down, and then, make some excuses. Can't wait for Talon and Bryson to be on here next week. If Georgia loses, I won't be on the episode. But also, we forget that Kirby Smart, some coaches just have other coaches' numbers. Like, Nick Saban has Kirby Smart's number. Thank God he's out of football. It's getting to the point where Kirby Smart has Josh Heupel's number. And I think there's just, especially since as he's a defensive coach, he kind of just knows how to stop that offense, which is kind of just don't get beat over top, make them beat you short, and they kind of just flame out. which is like good, good. I also don't think their running game's as good as last year. I think they've got maybe as good or better offensive line. Defensive line, not sure. Them not having their two corners is huge. Georgia just got back their two of their starting offensive linemen. Georgia's a relatively healthy team coming into this game more than usual. I hate how this is game 3 of the season. I'm going to be at the Tech game while this is happening, so I'm not going to be focusing. And Tech is playing out of their minds right now. But man, this is going to be a good game. I think it helps Georgia that this isn't at night. As a Georgia fan, I'd be concerned if this was a night game. The fact that it's a day game, a noon, like a almost noon kickoff, kind of gives me confidence because like they're not everyone in the stadium's going to be, blasted out of their minds. Man, is that going to be? Oh, I wish I could watch game day. If they could have just waited one more week for this game, but holy, it's going to be a great game. I haven't watched much of them. I mean, Microsoft Bing. I've got to take a picture of this because I'm getting texts from Tennessee fans all week. Right? Microsoft Bing has Georgia at a 61% chance to win. I don't think it's that big. I think it's going to be close, but at the same time, like ESPN has them at like a 51.5. And Tennessee fans are like, oh, we're back to win. 3.5 point spread. No, like this happens every year. Like Tennessee comes into this game like they're going to win it all. Right? And then they get humbled. Like in past few years, they've been ranked ahead of Georgia. And it happens every year in a row. Like, holy cow. Also, people dog on Gunnar Stockton. Did we just forget that this brother won the SEC championship last year? And played a pretty good ball game, I think, for against Notre Dame. Like, did we just forget about that? And did we forget that we upgraded our receiving core? And did we forget that our secondary is the same? We've got like the top 3 linebacking core in the country. Christian Miller is viewed as a first round pick by a lot of people. We've got 2 5-star defensive linemen as freshmen playing. Oh, and by the way, Kirby Smart, probably the best college football coach in football right now, is the head coach. Like, Tennessee fans nauseate me. They're like Cowboys fans. Like, they get a little bit of success, and you would think they've won it all, and they've just beat 2 nobodies. Like, they're coming out of the woods, dude. Like, they're coming out of the trees. And then they lose, and they all start to receive. And it's kind of hysterical. It's on a non-biased thing, it's going to be a good game. On a biased thing, I hope we beat the dog pee out of them. And I watch them rescind because then they got Bama the next week. And if Tennessee loses bad to Georgia, I don't know. Well, no, we play Bama the next week. If Georgia beats Tennessee, we definitely beat Bama. Or right, like we're rolling with momentum. If we lose to Tennessee, we're definitely beating Bama because now we've lost the game. Everyone's doubting us. Kirby Smart, like I don't think people understand because this happened. I think like a few years ago against Tennessee. Everyone was like, Tennessee. It was like the Hendon Hooker year, and he literally used it as motivation. They think they're the number 1 team in the country. They have them better than you. Everyone is doubting us. It happened last year. It's happened every year because they picked Tennessee on College Game Day, and he's like, "Look, everyone's doubting you," and then everyone's like, "Oh, everyone's against us." And then you have a fired up Georgia team, which is a team you don't want, and it's just, oh, I don't think people understand what they're playing with. But that's the end of that. That's the end of the college segment. Lol, this is going to be a long episode. Without Talon and Bryson, I'm allowed to like just yap. Like I can just yap. But now to the NFL season. And we'll talk about Tech at the end. And the Michael Parsons trade will get talked when we get to the Packers and the Cowboys. So season started. Colts beat the dog pee out of the Dolphins. I don't think Mike McDaniel's a good head coach. I think he's a great OC, but I mean, I just don't think he's cut out to be a head coach. Tua was terrible. They couldn't even run the ball. I mean, it just was bad. That defense has aged. It's an old defense for the Dolphins. For the Colts, I mean, if Daniel Jones has a few more weeks like this, Anthony Richardson's gone. And I think we need to start looking at Brian Daboll as him not being that good of a QB whisperer. And Shane Steichen, like, he went from one QB whisperer to another. Shane Steichen's kind of got to rebuild his reputation, right? Like he did the Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and then he went over and becomes a head coach. Like he went from QB coach, OC, head coach, and then he kind of like just sucked with Anthony Richardson. Like the development was not there, and it's the whole reason why you bought into the pairing was because you've got this raw talent with a great QB coach as a head coach. Surely it works, and it doesn't. But now Daniel Jones comes in, and he played his butt off. I mean, 3 touchdowns, 2 rushing, 1 passing. Jonathan Taylor looked good. DJ Giddens played well in the backup running back role. But holy cow, this is a deep receiving core, pass catching group for the Colts. Tyler Warren had 7 catches for 76 yards. I said this before. He's this year's Brock Bowers, right? Josh Downs only had 12 yards. Alec Pierce only had 36 yards. A.D. Mitchell only had 21 yards. Michael Pittman had 80 yards. You've got a bunch of number 2s on this team. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 number 2s, and then you've got a number 1 in your tight end. So, like, you fix that problem, the Colts are going to be scary. And this is a darn good defense. They revamped the secondary some more. Latu, at some point, is going to have to, like, prove it. But, like, if Shane Steichen's kind of coaching for his reputation here, if he can rebuild Daniel Jones into a good starter, listen, I think they could honestly trade Anthony Richardson and re-sign Daniel Jones and keep him around because Daniel Jones isn't old. He's still in his mid to late 20s. I mean, and he played well Sunday. Really good. So I think that's like if this goes good and then the Giants flame out again, Brian Daboll is now at stake because that QB whispering thing he had is no longer there. But if it doesn't work out for Shane Steichen, how was he a QB whisperer? Because this is now 2 quarterbacks he's now whipped on, right? I digress. Cardinals, Saints. It's not much from this game outside of how awful the Saints are. Like, how bad the New Orleans Saints are. And like how stupid they keep signing guys to big contracts when they have no money the next year. Cam Jordan, though, did have 2 sacks. Carl Granderson had 2 sacks. Like, that's probably Carl Granderson's best game of his career. I'm just being honest. The Cardinals, Trey Benson had a great game, and he's supposed to be the future of that running back room. Marvin Harrison had a pretty good game. Trey McBride had a pretty good game. Those are really the only 2 pass catchers. They have Zay Jones, but like Zay Jones is not him anymore. Defensively, I mean, they have Josh Sweat. They have Buda Baker. Calais Campbell. That's about it. Both teams are going to be bad this year. And the Cardinals are going to be scrappy, but I still think they're both going to suck. On to the next. Man, Bryce Young looks bad. Like, real bad. I think last year we kind of put too much stock in like that second half resurgence. Like, we forget that he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's built for the NFL. I mean, 51% of his passes. Now, again, this is a little bit of an overreaction, but this guy doesn't have much slack. He also is going to start the rest of the year. You're not going to pull him for Andy Dalton. Chuba Hubbard had an all right game. All right, Tedero McMillan played pretty good. Xavier Legette, I think, was another guy you just drafted off pure projections, and you're starting to find out the projections is just not it. Hunter Renfrow played. Thank God he's back in football. But yeah, I mean, Xavier Legette, he's got to play. He's got to do better if this team wants if he wants to be in the league long, right? Because like we saw Ricky Pearsall, spoiler, kind of go insane, right? Trevor Lawrence did look decent. Tank Bigsby, got traded from the Jaguars like that night to the Eagles, so they can help load manage Saquon Barkley. Travis Etienne had himself a game, 16 carries for 143 yards, 9 yards per carry. This is the Travis Etienne we expect week in and week out. Now, obviously, not 9 yards per carry, but like 5. This is a guy who is a great dual threat. I mean, he also had 13 yards receiving. Brian Thomas had a carry. Don't know why. They also were big on Bashawn Tootle and LaQuint Allen, which he was really good at Syracuse last year. That's another guy Syracuse lost. Bashawn Tootle is a speed back, and I think a good complementary piece to Travis Etienne. Brenton Strange, they made like a trade a few years ago, and he was like a shoe-in, and now he's like happened to be like one of the better tight ends in the league. I would say better. I'd say he's league average. Like, I'd take him over 10 other guys in this league, and that's about it. But that's still pretty good. Brian Thomas was kept quiet. Travis Etienne was kind of force-fed with 6 targets. Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter was kind of underwhelming a little bit. Travis Hunter, he's so good on both sides of the ball. It's kind of hard to buy in on one side and one side alone. But at the same time, I don't know. The defense for them looks good. I mean, you've got Travis Hunter, Devin Lloyd, who I think is one of the more underrated linebackers in the game. Tyson Campbell, who's a really good number 2. Jordan Lewis is a really good slot corner. Toyo Sanalucon, another really good middle linebacker. Eric Armstead's a dog of a defensive end. Trayvon Walker, former first-round pick. Emmanuel Ogbah, first-round pick. It's great. And that offensive line had like the best start first game of a season for a team. They allowed 6 pressures all game. Now, granted, the Panthers' pass rush is pretty pitiful, right? Like, I'm looking here. Princely Uman I liked him coming out of college. Like, that's the number 1 guy. That's pretty terrible. They have Trayvon Moehrig, though. Lathan Ransom. That's going to be an entertaining safety crew. That's about the only entertaining thing about him. Maybe McMillan, making a few plays. Bucks, Falcons. Why was I don't again, I was at work when this game happened. Did James Pierce not play? The Falcons terrorized me. And we're going to talk about them first. Michael Penix had a hell of a season debut. I had questions about him. If he plays like this most weeks, I mean, we found a franchise quarterback, 298 yards, 64% completion percentage. He ran for 21 yards and a rushing touchdown. We did not run the ball, and the problem is we're missing our right tackle and Caleb McGarity. He's out for the year, and then his backup's out for a few weeks. So we've got a brother who, honest to goodness, should be on the practice squad. I think he is on the practice squad right now. Storm Norton starting at right tackle. It's a problem. And the right guard has been an issue for 5 years. We haven't figured it out. Center is now a problem. Ryan Newsel, who, again, was on the practice squad till about a year ago, should still be on the practice squad, is our starting center. The whole center to right tackle part of our offensive line, they used to be a strength, right? As a whole, the only problem was right guard. Now it's 3 spots. Jake Matthews' old butt is still there, and Chris Lindstrom's still there. But we let Drew Dahlman walk. Why? I don't know why. Because we hit the nail on the we found Austin Mack's replacement finally. We thought it was Matt Hennessy. It was not Matt Hennessy. I think he's actually back on the Falcons. I'm gonna upload this episode tonight so that Thursday morning it's out. So that's one less thing I have to worry about. Elijah Wilkerson is starting at right tackle, actually. Because Storm Norton's out. And Elijah Wilkerson was playing right guard last year. Great. Yippee! And then some guy who, I read about, Michael Jarrell is our backup right tackle. Jack Nelson, our 7th-round pick, is our backup left tackle. Ryan Newsel's our starting center. What has this come down to? Left guard's the problem. They've moved Chris Lindstrom from left guard to right guard. probably to help balance off the offensive line. Defensively, we look good. No sacks, of course, because, we're immune to kidding a quarterback. Why is Arnold Ebiketie starting over Jalen Walker? Great question. Fantastic question, low key. I understand why Leonard Floyd's starting over James Pierce, but why is one of our 2 first-round picks not starting over Arnold Ebiketie, who is low key not that good? High key, not that good. Like, he give me 4.5 sacks. Like, okay, I drafted you in the second round 3 years. Yeah, 3 years ago. I need more. Secondary is pretty good. Xavier Watts is a dog. Billy Bowman. We've got 2 rookies are starting defensively. I know Darnell Mooney was. I don't know if he played. Did he play? No, he's out. So that's a bit of a problem. Drake London got hurt a little bit, but we have Jamal Agnew, who was solid for like a few years ago, and Kyle Pitts had himself a bit of a game. Finally, 59 yards. Bijan Robinson had 100 yards receiving. Ray McLeod still got it. Casey Washington, don't know who that brother is, balled out. Now, getting off my soapbox about the Falcons, so I'll probably get back on that soapbox in a minute. Baker Mayfield played a great game. He only had 167 yards passing, 53 yards, or 53 completion percentage. Holy. But 3 passing touchdowns. They could not run the ball. Bucky Irving had a rough day running the ball. But Tess Johnson was in the game. That's entertaining. Bucky Irving had a receiving catch. But Emeka Ibuka, hell of a debut. 4 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. With a banged-up receiving core, you're without Chris Godwin. Jalen McMillan may miss the whole year with a gnarly neck injury. Emeka Ibuka stepping up as the number 2. He looks good, man. And, he's the future number 1 once Mike Evans finally retires, because Chris Godwin's probably just going to end up being the number 2. Sterling Shepard's on this team as a good number 3, and will probably get relegated to number 4. Fully healthy, the Buccaneers have a really good receiving room. You've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Ibuka, Sterling Shepard, and Jalen McMillan, who came on strong at the end of last year and finished between 400 and 500 yards receiving as a rookie. 4th-round pick. So I really like their receiving core, and I love their running back room. Sean Tucker had a great year last year. Bucky Irving had a really good year last year. Rachaad White used to be a dog. Like, we forget that he was pretty good. But holy cow, it tried kicking me out of the call. The defense, though, you've got Hassan Reddick. They just don't have much of a pass rush. Vita Vea is there. They drafted Yaya Dabi, but there's another guy they drafted, D tackle. It's a wild name. He's mid. The secondary's good. Jamal Dean, Tyke Smith, Zion McCollum, Antoine Winfield. But about that, the Buccaneers just kind of it's going to be between the Buccaneers and the Falcons, and I low-key think the Buccaneers are going to beat us because we can't rush the passer to save our lives, because that would make too much sense, right? Too much, because Lord Almighty, we are immune to being good. Now, probably one of the better games of the week, not the best. Like, there's 2 other ones. The Jets and the Steelers. The Jets look good. Justin Fields had accounted for 3 touchdowns. Breece Hall looked good for a bit. The offensive line kind of was suspect, but Justin Fields, 73% completion percentage was really good. The only issue is, outside of Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor, it's really nobody. Like Tyler Johnson, who 5 years ago was a promising talent, is their number 2 receiver. Mason Taylor is a pretty good tight end. I would say he's a starting tight end, but he's a rookie. Jeremy Rucker was more involved. Defensively, though, Will McDonald had 2 sacks. Quentin Williams had 1 sack. It's a good defense. The Jets are going to be fighters. They're going to be better than last year. I don't think they're going to be that good, but they're going to be like a dogfight team, kind of like how the Cardinals were last year. Now for the Steelers. Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns, and I'm happy for him. Do I think this is a bit of an overreaction because the secondary is kind of buns in New York? Yes. Like Ben Skoranek is not giving you a touchdown catch every week. Calvin Johnson most likely is not giving you a touchdown catch every week. The problem though is they could not run the ball. Like it is a mere. I went to work and the Jets were up over a touchdown and they ended up losing. They could not. The Steelers could not run the ball to save their life. Like I mean, Jalen Warren 11 carries, 37 yards, 3.3 yards per carry. Kenneth Gainwell 7 carries, 19 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. They couldn't do anything. Caleb Johnson is RB3 right now. Kenneth Gainwell, which respect to his name was a good RB2 for the Eagles, is ahead of Caleb Johnson. Now, they have DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth, Johnny Smith, and Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson's a good slot receiver, kind of a gadget guy. I just don't see this working out because if you take away DK Metcalf, and I think Amon Sauce Gardner is kind of, isn't what he used to be, but if you took away DK Metcalf, if you put a corner on him and then blanketed him over top with a safety, and then you just manned up on everybody else, there's a problem. Like, you're going to get beat, right? Like, Johnny Smith's going to beat your either slot in a contested catch or your middle linebacker out wide. When he splits out wide, he's probably like that. Johnny Smith's a mismatch. But Pat Freiermuth's not a mismatch. Calvin Johnson, all you have to do is get hands on him. And then, like, Ben Skoronek's a starting receiver for the Steelers. Right? Like, unless they're missing somebody. Fingers crossed they are. No! They're just running a 2 tight end set. Yeah, this team is playing ancient football. Like, and I love this kind of football, 2 tight end sets, but it just doesn't work. What's his face? Tried it at Tennessee, and then he tried it again in Atlanta, and it doesn't work. But they're gonna beat it into the table, right? They're still pretty darn good offensive line. I mean, we're looking at this: 2 first-round tackles, a second-round center, and a 4th-round guard. And the center and guard played fantastic last year. We're on my all-rookie team. Troy Fontu got hurt. And by the way, Andreas Pete, it was a starting tackle for the Raiders and was for a while at the Saints. Just a backup swing tackle. Nothing to scoff at. And by the way, tight end wise, they like Johnny Smith, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, and Connor Hayward. It's a stupid room. But again, like, their receiving core is piss poor. I think the Steelers are going to be a 9-8 team. Again, I think the Jets are going to win like 5 to 7 games. And that's respectable. You're building momentum in Aaron Glenn's first year. But to the next one, Bengals, Browns. And everyone's talking like, is it a good game? The Bengals won. Barely to the Browns. Yes. Considering how the past 2 years have been for the Bengals, the fact that they came out of week 1 with a W, they'll take it. Because they have been, yes, was it a slow start? Yes, but they found a way to win. For the love of the Lord. I mean, T. Higgins had 33 yards receiving. Just Jamar Chase had 26. I mean, it was bad. Noah Fant, who's also on this roster too, which we forget. Noah Fant was a top tight end. When like the Russell Wilson trade happened, they're like, they got Noah Fant? He's the next coming tight end. Yes, did he suck in Denver? Yes. But he's pretty good. He had a touchdown catch, 26 yards. I love the tight end squad here with Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant. You can kind of just, Drew Sample, just wind. They can now line up with a 2 tight end set. The issues, they don't have the offensive line to do it, nor do they have the running back. Chase Brown's like respectable, but like I don't think I have a championship running back with Chase Brown. Defensively, they did do Trey Hendrickson's deal, but this defense is just buns. I mean, Miles Murphy is supposed to be good. You have Trey Hendrickson. You have Joseph Osai, who's supposed to be good, and then Shamar Stewart. A lot of talent there. Do I think anything's going to happen? No. I honestly don't think the Bengals are going to be that good. Now, Joe Flacco threw for 290 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He's known to turn over the ball, and you're just going to roll with it. They could not run the ball. Dylan Sampson had a rough debut. Kind of forgot he was there a few weeks ago. Judy had a good game, but the name I want to talk about, right? And I was big on him in the draft process. Harold Fanning had himself a heck of a game. 7 catches, 63 yards. His longest catch was 22 yards. And this is a development that we need to watch here. Because for a lot of people, including myself, he was TE2. Well, TE3. Like you had Colson Loveland, Tyler Warren and Colson Loveland, and then like that level below was Harold Fanning, Elijah Arroyo, and Mason Taylor. And the only issue was for Harold Fanning was he came from Bowling Green. He kind of struggled a little bit. But I think there's some tight ends that just are good in games, right? Like they find zones. They can sit, like especially a veteran quarterback. I think Harold Fanning is not going to be, because he's not the biggest guy. I don't think he's there yet where you just line him up kind of like a Brock Bowers and stuff. Ant was biting my thigh. What in the world? That was kind of rude. But he's not going to be a guy you kind of just line up as an X, or I think it's a Y. It's X, Y, or T. They've got like the tight end out wide natural positions, like a different thing, right? And it's eluding me. It's kind of going to piss me off. I don't think he's that tight end yet. I think he has that potential. I think he can be there, especially at the end of this year. But he's still a starting tight end. I really love the potential there. You're getting a guy who is the more modern tight end, the Brock Bowers, the Tyler Warrens. Colston Loveland's kind of a bit of an older school. But he's a Travis, no, not even Travis Kelce, because Travis Kelce's not a guy that I send 40 yards and beat you over top with. He's a George Kittle, right? It's a name to watch. Keep an eye on Harold Fanning's development, because this is going to be big for when they get a quarterback that he's that safety blanket. Because David Njoku's getting up there now. Like David Njoku's about time to leave and go play as a veteran on a championship team. So it's big that his development, 7 catches in your debut is huge. And 63 yards on top of that, 22-yard catch. He was averaging 9 yards per catch. He was 3rd on the team in receiving. Dylan Sampson had 64 yards receiving, but he also had 8 catches. He kind of was force-fed. Cedric Tillman looks good. I think Cedric Tillman's probably a number 3 receiver. And I think, honestly, Jared Jeudy might be a 2. But he's kind of like the Jacoby Myers, where you're like, yeah, he's my number 1. Like, in a perfect scenario, do I want Jerry Jeudy to be my number 1? No. But I can survive. You just need a quarterback and a running game and maybe an offensive line. But if I'm the Bengals, I'm just happy I won. Like, at this point, like, you just take anything you can get. Now, Raiders, Patriots. Everyone dogs on Will Campbell for his 4th quarter performance. It's 1 quarter of football. I'll take the 3 quarters, which is going to be crazy considering the statement. I'm not even going to say anything that controversial. Ashton Jeanty had a good game. Not really. Average 2 yards per carry. The offensive line for the Raiders is not that good. And he's used to that, but now you're facing against like dudes every week. Samir White, I like him as the backup running back. I did not like him as the bell cow last year. He's pretty good. It's like you just kind of change the pace, throw him up the middle, and he's just going to run right through you every 4 times a game, 5 times a game, come out with 20 yards, and you're like, okay. Get 5 yards to carry out of him. Brock Bowers, doing Brock Bowers things, hurt his knee. That's kind of concerning. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that's nothing. Dante Thornton out of Tennessee looked good. Trey Tucker. I don't really know what to think of this receiving core. Michael Meyer, Jack Besh got passed up by Dante Thornton. Jack Besh was a 2nd-round pick. It's going to be interesting to see those 2 guys' development. Also, because you got key in Trey Tucker, who honestly is probably a number 3. But you got Jacoby Myers. I mean, I don't even know the way they've got their depth chart set up, because I know how I would do it. I'm not that well done, and I think I'm so. But Dante Thornton's your starter. Trey Tucker is your right side, and then Jacoby Myers is in the slot. Then Jack Besh is your backup. I don't hate it. You could get better at left guard. You could get better at right tackle. Michael Meyer had himself, though, a game. He had 38 yards receiving, which, you're looking at him and be like, well, why is that a big game? Because he didn't do shit the past 2 years. There's signs of life. If he gives me 38, 40 yards a game, I'll take it for my backup tight end, especially if he's going to step in the starting spot. Brock Bowers is down. Defensively, they look scrappy. Tyrese Wilson starting to come into form. Outside of that, that defense is just kind of mid. They lost their starting safety too, and Trayvon Moehrig. The Patriots though are interesting, right? Drake May slung it, 46 attempts, 30 completion, 65% completion percentage, 287 yards. Did throw a pick, but he threw a touchdown. The problem is they could not run the ball. Travion Henderson had 5 carries, 27 yards, and Rhamondre Stevenson had 7 carries for 15 yards. Just not good. But Kayshon Boutte, and I've been saying this for a while, this guy's underrated. You've got to watch out for him. Had 6 catches for 103 yards. Stephon Diggs had 6 catches for 56 yards. Travion Henderson had 6 catches. They don't have a tight end. That's a bit of a problem. I mean, they have Hunter Henry, but Hunter Henry's out of his prime. It's been out of his prime. It's Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry. You got the retirement home of tight ends. I like the receiving core, though. And you still have Antonio Gibson. You have Kyle Williams. You have Demario Douglas. They have cut a lot of the talent back end off of the depth chart at the receiver position, which is kind of sad. I mean, yeah, they cut off a lot of fat at the receiver position, more than I would have personally, because you just kind of need as many bodies as you can. They don't even have anybody on the practice squad. Anybody? Polk is down, but he's down for the year. Yeah, interesting. Okay. But I like what I saw from the Patriots. It kind of just went away in the second half from them. The Raiders kind of had that get their quarter. I'm really high on the Patriots. We're going to see, dude, I hate the Patriots media, and I subscribe to it on TikTok because it's entertaining and I'm learning. So I'm very interested in the Patriots right now because of the rebuild. They're like, this is a big year for Drake May. This is a big year. Like, dude, if he shows improvements, you're going to be fine. Like, this team is a ways away. You've probably got 2 more years left. If he looks better than he did last year, if he keeps the turnovers down, because now you've got, actual weapons. Kayshon Boutte's not suspended for a while. You have Stephon Diggs now. And you've got Travion Henderson and Will Campbell. I think you'll be fine. Defensively, not a lot of big names. Harold Landry, though, had 2 sacks. I think we also need to put respect on Harold Landry's name of how big of a dog he was at one point. Wait, Keelan White is back. With the Patriots? Did he get cut? No, he didn't. That's another guy. That's Josh Uche. The Raiders, they're in win now mode, but it's like you're looking at it and you're like, I don't see why we're in win now mode. You don't even have a developmental guy. Geno Smith slung it, but at the same time, they have Christian Gonzalez. Both teams are going to be interesting to watch. Not enough I saw where I was like, I can make a decision on if I like them or not. Now, Commanders, Giants, Russell Wilson, days are numbered. I mean, they're already beating. Jackson Dart wasn't supposed to start this year. He's already passed Jameis Winston up. Jameis Winston, I would not be shocked if Russell Wilson got cut, and Jameis Winston's the backup, and Jackson Dart's the starter. Jameis Winston's a great locker room guy. He's got that because now you're looking at both of them. You're like, okay, who do I want to keep? Who do I want to get rid of? Can't have Tommy DeVito anymore, but you're going to have to pick somebody, right? Take Jameis Winston because if the guy's been through everything, is a hell of a leader. Russell Wilson's kind of an egomaniac. He completed 46% of his passes. They couldn't run the ball either, though. Cam Scatterby had negative yards. Tyrone Tracy had 24 yards on 10 carries. Passing the ball. I mean, Malik Neighbors had 71 yards receiving. Wandell Moore had 55. They don't have a good tight end situation. Cam Scatterby looked great in pass pro. Like, I saw some. Cam Scatterby's pass pro is the definition is CTE. Like, it's CTE. Defensively, I'm in love. Brian Burns had 2 sacks. I think Kevon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter's had a half a sack each. Then you have Dexter Lawrence. I love that package. That right there is where you go NASCAR and you just put Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau on the inside, or Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and then you put on the outside Kayvon Thibodeau and Abdul Carter, and you should harass the quarterback. Just go. This team's got potential, but the Commanders looked good. Jaden Daniels had 233 yards passing. Ja'Cory Crossett Merritt, I thought that he was a little overhyped coming out of the preseason. Brother played well. Played well. And he's a nice. I wish they had a thumper, and I think Carlos Rodriguez is going to be that guy. But, man, does he play? He's just athletics and speedy. 10 carries, 82 yards. Jaden Daniels had 68 yards rushing. I mean, Ja'Cory had more carries than Austin Eckler and Jeremy McNichols combined. Right? Like, it's stupid. You also have gadget buddy Deebo Samuels, who, I mean, turned back the clock, 7 carries, 77 yards. I didn't see a lot out of Terry McLaurin. Again, I still need a number. I would like to have a number 3 receiver for the Commanders. I'm happy now that we have a number 2. And now we're just not force-feeding Terry McLaurin. And Zach Ertz is Zach Ertz. He's the old, trusty, wily veteran that's going to beat you because you're going to get in zones and stuff. Noah Brown, I guess, isn't a bad number 3, or Chris Moore. But I really liked what I saw of the Commanders. They took a good step forward. Daron Payne had a sack. Dorrance Armstrong had a sack. The secondary looks good. I mean, they drafted Trey Amos, the kind of pair. They still have Jeremy Reeves. Mike Sandstrom is a dog. So here Newton is now in the second year. Noah Igbenogany looks all right. It's gonna be a great. This team is gonna be really good to see. I think they're honestly the second best team in the NFC East. I don't think the Cowboys are that good. Titans Broncos. It's a pissing contest. Titans played terrible. I mean, there's just no 2 ways about it. No one can catch a football in Tennessee. The offensive line still can't block, no matter how many resources they pour into that system. Bo Nix had a bad game. But R.J. Harvey and J.K. Dobbins looked like a good 1-2 punch. And if you're a Broncos fan, you're very happy about that. Cortland Sutton had himself a decent game. And defensively, they've been like, it's not one guy that's harassing you. It's Zach Allen. It's Nick Petito, Justin Stroud, Jonathan Cooper, Riley Moss, Jonah Ellis, Brandon Jones, Alex Singleton, Jaquan McMillan. Now it's Tyler Halafunga. John Franklin Myers, Pat Surtain, DJ Jones. It's coming at you from every direction. And I think the Broncos are going to be decent. I think they're overhyped. I think we put way too much stock into them year in and year out. 49ers, Seahawks. This is a beat-up 49ers team, right? They playing with scraps in the receiving core. They just lost another guy. Russell Gage is getting a lot of snaps. George Kittle's down for at least 4 weeks. So Christian McCaffrey touched the ball 31 times. He had 63 yards rushing and 73 yards receiving. Ricky Pearsall, 4 catches, though, for 108 yards. Brother's breaking out, and he's shown to be that number 1 receiver that they drafted. Kyle Juszczyk, I can't believe they cut him for like 3 weeks. Because where would they be without him? Brock Purdy only had 9 incompletions, 2 picks, though. He's kind of just he did good, and you saw this is breaking the game manager bullshit that he has to go through. If he was a game manager, there's no way they win this game. Because Jawan Jennings was not a factor. It's Ricky Pearsall and Christian McCaffrey against everybody. Defensively, nothing really wowed me. That's a defense that, as the season goes and Robert Saleh can get his hands on them and create packages and blitz packages and secondary coverages, that it's going to develop as the season goes on. I think that's going to be a side that you see take some time. Now, Seattle, Can't run the ball. Shocker. I mean, Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker are not that good of running backs. Jalen Milroe played a little bit. Don't know why. Sam Darnold did not look that good. Jackson Smith and Jigba, though, was 9 for 124. Cooper Kupp only had 15 yards receiving. Elijah Arroyo was mid. The Seahawks, I think, are just going to be terrible. I don't think that's a good football team. I mean, the offensive line's a travesty. The defense is getting older. They have good corners. But outside of that, like Leonard Williams is getting up there. They have older running backs now in the running back market. They're in their mid to late 20s, which is a shame. Not everybody's Derrick Henry, right? But, they're going through that. I don't think they're going to be that good. Lions, Packers. Now, Micah Parsons got traded here, and I called it because on the last episode, they were like, Micah Parsons isn't going to get traded. And I said, no, he is. That bridge got burnt. The Packers kind of fleeced them 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark. The Cowboys must really like Kenny Clark. Jerry Jones is an idiot. They couldn't run the ball. The Lions couldn't. And I know that's a quick flip. Jared Goff was 31 of 39, wasn't terrible. Just couldn't complete the ball or couldn't run the ball at all. And I think we all forget how important to the Lions running the ball really was. David Montgomery's going to get his legs back up under him eventually at some point. But Amon-Ra St. Brown wasn't a big factor. Sam Laporta had a big game, 79 yards receiving. Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 catches for 31 yards. They really did. If you can silence Amon-Ra or Jahmyr Gibbs passing-wise, you're going to have a good game. And Jameis Williams wasn't able to beat him over top. Defensively, shocker, no pass rush. Because what do? You double team Aiden Hutchinson, who I don't even know played. Because he didn't record anything. And I'm working during most of these games. So I'm not able to watch. No, he played. But again, nothing happened because what do? You can double team him because you're not afraid of anybody else on that. Like no one else on that defensive line scares you, right? Like Alex Anzalone has to be blitzed every time. So like you're just gonna pick that up. Like you're just gonna hey, you're just gonna make it 1-on-1. Like it's just Tyler Williams is not a pass rusher. Marcus Davenport is not that good. Derek Barnes, what is this linebacking core? I look at this Lions defensive depth chart and it pisses me off. Because, like, why didn't you make the move for Micah Parsons? Or Myles Garrett? Somebody. TJ Watt, hello? Like, put the chips into the table and make a run. Damn. Now, to the Packers. They didn't run the ball necessarily well, but, I mean, again, they just out-physical the Lions. Because, I mean, like 188 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Jaden Reed, who's pretty good, did decent. Matthew Golden didn't have that big of a game. I think Matthew Golden's a little overrated. He's going to need some time. He's not a day one impactor. Jaden Reed's pretty good. Romeo Dobbs had 68 yards receiving. Micah Parsons, though, in the little bit of time, I mean, they had 4 sacks, right? Or Sean Gary had 2. Devontae Wyatt, the replacement to Kenny Clark, who they drafted in the first round a few years ago, kind of groomed him to be better. Just replaced him. Micah Parsons, though, I mean, that's the Micah Parsons I wanted, that I saw, that if he is that good, is worth the money. But if he goes to being Cowboys Micah Parsons, where he can't stop the run to save his life, it's just going to be interesting. We'll talk about this more next week. This is just game recaps. The Rams versus Texans. The offensive line is still a question. Nick Chubb had a great game in his return, 13 carries, 60 yards. You love to see it. They kind of spread the ball out, cased over Jaden Higgins, Justin Watson, Nico Collins did not have that big of a game. You kind of just spread it out. Will Anderson had a sack. The Rams, Matthew Stafford had a pretty good game, only 8 incompletions. Puka Nacua, 10 catches, 130 yards. Like, just force feed Puka. And then that opens up Devontae Adams, which then opens up someone else. Tyler Davis. They had 3 sacks. It wasn't terrible. Jordan Whittingham still on the team. The Rams look good. The Texans, I think, are going to regress. But again, that conference is so bad that I think, honestly, but if the Colts are good, it's going to be a battle between the Colts and the Texans. And if the Colts look how they do right now, and the Texans' offensive line still takes time to get under them, the Colts might win that division for the first time in forever. Now to the interesting 2 slates of games: the Bills Ravens. The Ravens were up by a fat chunk. They got outscored 6-22 in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson had himself a game, right? 209 yards passing, 2 passing touchdowns, 6 carries, 70 yards. Derrick Henry, 18 carries, 169 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Fantastic game. Insane game. Zay Flowers had 143 yards receiving. DeAndre Hopkins had a great snag in the end zone. They have a really good receiving core. Paul Hamilton was banged up for a bit. Malachi Starks looked fantastic in his debut. This team looked good. They just died in the fourth quarter, had a few turnovers and penalties, and Josh Allen went nuclear. He had 400 yards passing for 2 touchdowns. They could not run the ball to save their lives, which is insane. Keon Coleman, though, 8 catches, 112 yards, breaking out. Joshua Palmer, I think we forget how good of a number 3 receiver he was at the Chargers. Played fantastic. This was 2 heavyweights, and we saw a heavyweight fight. Khalil Shakur had 64 yards receiving. They now have a proper receiving core. They just don't have now they don't have thrown together guys and some rookies, right? You have Keon Coleman, who's in his second year. Khalil Shakur has an extension. Joshua Palmer is a good number 2 or 3. You have 2 really good tight ends in Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox. You have your 3 running backs in James Cook, Ray Davis, and Ty Johnson, who all 3 effective passing game. James Cook had 58 yards receiving. He had more yards receiving than he did rushing, and he caught the ball less. Defensively, not much of a pass rush. I don't think the Bills are going to have much of a pass rush. They're going to have to bank on their secondary, and they kind of did. Because Lamar Jackson, did not really beat them much passing-wise. Also, if you take away Zay Flowers, what his stats look like, the 209 yards passing isn't much. But holy, it's looking embarrassing, though, that the Ravens threw that game. Making a quick decision because it's 9:02. We're not talking about the Tech football team. We'll talk about that next week. But the Bill, Josh Allen showed why he was the MVP and why Lamar Jackson didn't deserve it, right? Josh Allen's got that cold vibe to him. I don't know if Lamar has it where he can just drive the team down and do it. Well, Josh Allen carried that offense the whole second half. 400 yards passing on 72% completions. He had 16 incomplete passes. And he threw the ball 46 times. You know how stupid that is? That does not happen often. And I really love how, look, running the ball, you got Josh Allen. Then you got James Cook. That's a good one, too. Ray Davis is a bit of a dog. Oh, by the way, Ty Johnson's pretty good, too. He had 2 carries, 24 yards. Receiving wise, Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakur, Joshua Palmer. Then you go tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox. Again, your running back room that is deep out the butt. James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Jackson Hawes, who I'm big on from Georgia Tech, had a 29-yard catch. It's a deep squad. Oh, and by the way, a once promising receiver, Elijah Moore is on this roster. There's depth, guy. This Bills team has finally gotten deep. I think the front 4 need more work. But the Ravens, though, I think the Ravens are going to be pretty good. This has to be their year. Now the Vikings-Bears. I'm going to talk about this first for the Bears. The Bears looked good through 3 quarters. I liked what I saw from Caleb Williams. The offensive line for the Bears through 3 quarters when DeAndre Swift was running up and down the field looked fantastic. I would have liked to see more of Kyle Mongai. Right? DeAndre Swift, yes, it was 17 carries for 53 yards. But, those were some big runs. Caleb Williams was using his legs. Caleb Williams had a great first 3 quarters. Then that fourth quarter happened. And they just, I don't know what happened, but the Vikings nutted up, and holy cow. The issue for the Bears, though, is their front 4. Montez Sweat is the biggest name on there, and that's not that big of a name. Javon Dexter's solid. Noah Sewell broke out. That guy's going to be a dog of a middle linebacker. when they're talking about Deo Adangbo. Who the hell is Deo Adangbo to be that notable of a name? But Noah Sewell, it felt like Noah Sewell was in every tackle. Like every play, you saw Noah Sewell either make a hit, push a guy over, or he was near the ball. I mean, he was fast, sideline to sideline. Don't know how he made it like the 5th round. But Luther Burton didn't do anything. Romeo Duze had some big catches. DJ Moore, though, and I kind of liked it. They had him run in like the H-back, him line up beside Caleb Williams. I kind of like that. Ben Johnson is looking at him like, you're the guy. You're my one. I've got to make plays for you. I don't know if they have the running backs right now that they did. Like, I think we also forget that the running back core, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, was goated, and you just can't recreate that. Cole Kmet had a great one-handed snag. The two tight end set of Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland looked good through 3 quarters. But, you know who didn't look good through 3 quarters? J.J. McCarthy. And his stats overall did not look good, right? But the second half, really, Jordan Mason started in the 3rd quarter where they just started handing the ball off to him. And he's getting 4, 5, 3, 5 yards a carry. And you're just like, they can't stop him. And then J.J. McCarthy making the occasional throw or run that he needed to. And he made 2 big passes in the second half. And then that run where he takes off and runs into the end zone, takes the hit and goes in. I mean, that 4th quarter was elite by him. I don't know if that's going to be an every game performance. I have questions because, again, they held Jay Jettis to 44 yards receiving. But holy cow, did he look good. And I like what I saw. I would have liked to saw more through 3 quarters. That defensive line for the Vikings nutted up and just said, no, you're not running the ball. And then without running the ball, the secondary for the Vikings is pretty good. Took the passing game away. Right? I mean, Javon Hargrave had 2 sacks. I mean, this is a really good defense. And then you have their D coordinator. His name is eluding me. I think he should be a head coach. It's just whatever happened with him at the Dolphins is kind of plaguing him. But I mean, this is a good defense, and they nutted up, and Caleb Williams folded back into last year Caleb Williams. Instead of what we saw through 3 quarters where I was like, this is promising. If this is the Caleb Williams I get all year, that's first overall Caleb Williams and not QB4 Caleb Williams. QB3. But then he fell back to QB3 Caleb Williams. And you're kind of looking at him like, Caleb, what are we doing? Like just bad decision-making, overthrowing guys, holding on to the ball a little too long, and then trying to create too much. Like just get the ball out of your hands, dink and dunk. That's what was helping him so good through 3 quarters. He was dinking and dunking. He was taking what the defense was giving him. And that's what you wanted for him to do last year. Instead of holding on to the ball for 5 seconds and trying to beat you over top. And it was just infuriating to watch. The Bears had that big lead and throw it. Like they just got stuck. Like the offense could not do anything. And then the defense couldn't stop Jordan Mason. And then these little dink and dunk passes. I mean, like J.J. McCarthy only had 143 yards passing. Now it's big. 7 of the 24 points that the Bears scored was off a pick 6. But, I mean, Caleb Williams did not play terrible. Caleb Williams accounted for 2 touchdowns, almost 300 yards of total offense if you count the 58 rushing yards he had. But it's going to be interesting because both teams showed a lot of promise, and then they had very different 4th quarters. So I don't know where you view them. Next week's going to be big for them. And that NFC North is a very competitive division because all 4 teams realistically have a shot. Because if the Lions are what they showed Sunday, that's a wide open division. I don't care what you say about the Packers. Unless that defense stays like that for the Packers and the secondary doesn't fold, it's a wide open division. And that's a interesting race to watch. Did the Cowboys play? No. They did. I missed 2 games. Cowboys played the Eagles. The Eagles, like, just raffle something. I don't say raffle something, but, like, it was like the game was not as close as the scoreboard said, right? And I think we're looking at a Cowboys team that's going to be terrible. no pass rush. Really, they just let CD Lamb do his thing and just did not care. The Eagles looked good. I would have liked to see more Eagles pass rush, but again, this is a front seven that's different now. Byron Young, Josh Uche, Mario Jomo's playing more. Felix Hunt is playing more. Nolan Smith is got to be that guy now instead of having Josh Sweat on the opposite side of him. I am interested to see what they do with the running back thing because they were, AJ Dillon, Will Shipley, Saquon Barkley. Now you add Tank Bigsby. Now you've got 4 tailbacks, and you've got Jalen Hurts, who went 19 of 23. Jalen Hurts is a game managing quarterback. He's a different game manager because he can take the game over with his legs. But I don't view his arm as he's going to beat me throwing 300 yards. If Jalen Hurts throws for 300 yards, I think we did something good. Right? Dak Prescott, though, is overrated. Yes, he completed 62% of his passes, but 188 yards. That just didn't look good. Now to the other game. Chargers Chiefs. And Talon was because I've hated on Justin Herbert, dogging on me. Justin Herbert's him. Justin Herbert did do what I think he had the potential to do. 318 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. They didn't run the ball that well. But Quentin Johnson, who did the same thing last year, who started off strong and kind of tapered off, had a great game. Brother finally remembered that he's a receiver. 5 catches, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ladd McConkey, 6 catches, 74 yards. Keenan Allen, 7 catches, 68 yards. I love the addition of Keenan Allen because it takes the pressure off Ladd McConkey. And if Quentin Johnson can now be good, that's a deep receiving core. You also have Trey Harris on the team. Will Dissly's a good tight end. You also have Tyler Conklin, who had 2 catches for 50 yards. That's a good offense with Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris. Justin Herbert he threw the ball 34 times, completed the ball 74% of the time. Only 9 incompletions, no picks. Love it. Love it. Now, for the Chiefs, Travis Kelce looks like he's slowing down a little bit. Xavier Worthy got hurt. And without Xavier Worthy or Rashid Rice, you're relying on Marquise Brown, Tyquan Thornton, and Juju Smith-Schuster. And I just don't think Juju Smith-Schuster is that good anymore. Yes, he had 5 catches for 55 yards, but it was just empty. Travis Kelce only had 2 catches for 47 yards, and most of that came off 1 catch. I think it was his touchdown catch. Isaiah Pacheco is slowing down a lot. They split the carries between him and Kareem Hunt, and that's bad. They needed Isaiah Pacheco. Defensively, though, Drew Tranquill had a sack. George Karlaftis had a sack. That defense is going to be good. You're not worrying about the defense. The issue is the offense, and I think this is when they let go Brent Bellama, not Brent Bellama, but Eric Bieniemy, who again another guy, black guy that should be a head coach. The offensive the creativity of the offense is gone, and Rashid Rice was getting 10 catches for 110 yards. I hope you catch the ball 10 times and you have over 100 yards. Xavier Worthy beat you downfield once a game. And Patrick Mahomes, he went from I think it was a 58% completion percentage on downfield passes to now 21% last year. I said this before in last episode. He's overrated. He had a few good years, but if you start looking at it now, when they took all his weapons away, the Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce is getting older. Kareem Hunt's not what he used to be. This offense is he's not that good. Him and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce just have impeccable chemistry to where he can just flick that ball, and you're yeah, he knows where he is because he can feel him. They just have that. Quarterbacks have that chemistry with other receivers. But he's that. You're not seeing that anymore. You're not seeing the clutchness. The clutchness is still there, but he's having to perform more. I just the dink and dunk offense. He can't. I'm not saying he's a game manager. He's a top 7 quarterback in this league, but he's not the best quarterback anymore. And I don't think he will be for a while. I think we got hyped up. I think that we don't give the GM of that team enough credit for how good of a team he built and how good of a team that is overall. And now, because everybody's getting expensive, you're starting to see where they're whiffing. Patrick Mahomes is not elevating all these guys. Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown was a first-round pick. Juju Smith-Schuster was a all-pro receiver. Kareem Hunt was a Pro Bowl running back before he decided to beat people. And now he kind of, Isaiah Pacheco, you're seeing why he was taken in the 7th round. He's starting to slow down. They rode him so hard. And now you don't have Xavier Worthy. They kicked last year's 2nd-round pick at tackle into guard, and now you still have their Justin Simmons, the tackle. The offensive line looks fantastic. He's going to be protected all day long. It's just, do they have the guys to make plays? And I don't think so. The Chargers are going to be a deep threat with that, big threat with that receiving corps. But that's all for today's episode. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all next time. It was a longer episode, but hopefully everybody's here next time.